What's up, you guys? Mike Spy here, and today I'm here to kind of put myself out there to help you guys. I'm going to do a DNA test that supposedly can help determine more of a way to enhance my fitness lifestyle. This is called Fit IQ. I'm not paid by them. They're actually the first and most affordable from what I found online. I don't know how accurate it's going to be. I don't know what the results are going to entail, but I do know that this is something that I'm excited about. And I also feel personally that this is going to be the way of the future in regards to health and fitness. So, for example, if you step into a health facility of any kind, from a medical facility to even a company like myself that helps people get in shape, a DNA test will be extremely valuable to determine which direction we want to go about in regards to food allergies, fitness type training styles, foods that kind of help you with your performance and such. So, more about this Fit IQ. So, what they do is they send you a box in the mail, and it comes with two swabs, right? It comes with a prepaid mailing package, meaning so you just put it in here, and it's basically a to-do sheet, like basically how to do it. This right here is something that you must fill out because this is what you're going to place on the swab. Make sure I'm happy that's over. All right, got them here. Two barcodes. So now we just place them in the prepaid bag after registering, and they should be good. So I'll see you guys in about 4 to 6 weeks. And we're back. It's been about 2 weeks now, and I'm really happy with the speed in regards to how fast I received my results. However, I wasn't really satisfied with my results, and I'll explain to you why. But before I do, I want to apologize because what I'm going to be doing is flipping paper around. You're going to hear me uttering words as I read to you. But my goal is to help you guys understand what this process was like and the results that were determined based on my DNA. Now, what I want to clarify first is that I'm not a biologist, so if there's any inaccurate statements, please feel free to correct me because learning is always okay, as well as me suggesting the idea that I don't know what they're talking about. So you might hear me say that if it comes up, but we'll start. So the first thing that they determine is that I am a low carb diet type person. Again, I apologize for this, but I'm going to put this in front of the screen and you can see it says my matching diet type is low carb. My response to monounsaturated fats is neutral. Response to polyunsaturated fats, increased benefit. And omega-3 and omega-6, it says decrease. And we'll get into why. Okay. Right here, it gives you a general idea of my diet recommendations. So it says eat a low carbohydrate diet, particularly refined carbohydrates instead of low fat or Mediterranean diet. Well, here's the deal. Refined carbohydrates shouldn't be consumed for the most part, period. So the idea of eating low carbs is specific according to my genome type, right? Based on my DNA, but I mean, we're not supposed to eat refined carbs. That's too broad. It says you may indulge more than the average on tempting foods. I don't know what tempting foods are, maybe foods that are specific to me, as you have genetic markers associated with eating disinhibition. Reduce your exposure to foods that tempt you. Shouldn't everyone? So it seems what they have done is they had a test pool, and from talking to certain people that are credible, they might have pulled this information from the Human Genome Project, which I'm also a part of. And that means what they've done is they've got a large variety of people, and whatever similar DNA markers I had with them, they kind of put me in this category. So, if they smoked, for example, if they were just living unhealthy, that wasn't taken into consideration. And there's something called epigenetics, which is based off of The ability to turn on or off your genetic markers based on the environment of how you live. For example, if you have cancer, if you're more prone to cancer, I should say, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get cancer, but you could be more likely to get cancer. For example, if you smoke cigarettes in somebody that didn't have that genetic marker within them. So that right there to me is kind of like, all right, this idea of a specific diet for me is crap. And the reason why is because a diet is, you have the holistic side of dieting, which is basically like cholesterol and making sure like your internal organs are functioning right and certain things, and certain things are common sense. I've always been taught to eat like a diabetic in regards to lower glycemic foods, and I found that that was a little too strict for my goals, which is to gain more mass. Meaning I need a little insulin spike from time to time and some fast digesting carbs when it comes to replenishment within a certain time period. But when reading this, like for example, I'm looking at it and it says I am less likely to be lactose intolerant. You either are or you're not, and to flip a fucking coin and say you're less likely. And I mean, granted, they're correct. I am not lactose intolerant. So I mean, there is some truth to it. But this is that the point is this. My frustration is coming out of how broad and vague this is. So, for example, as someone who has enhanced bitter taste perception, you may not like the taste of certain healthy vegetables, such as broccoli or leafy greens. I mean, think about it. Like, it's even used as like a cliche saying that kids don't eat their broccoli or they don't eat their vegetables. That's like a gamble. Nobody really likes to eat their broccoli, and for those of you that do, I mean, great for you. But you guys are the anomalies of the world. I hate broccoli, for example. So it's funny, even though it's like I'm sitting here kind of shitting on it. They're kind of accurate in the sense to where I don't know what they mean, but I have an enhanced bitter taste for, or I have an enhanced perception for bitter taste. Sorry, but I'm not lactose intolerant, and I didn't. I do now actually. Didn't really care for broccoli or leafy greens, but I do love salads, and actually I do love certain vegetables. So that, in a sense, is like I said, it's a hit or miss thing. However, low carb dieting, not for me. It once was, but it makes me flat, and I like to be strong, but it will affect my performance in regards to sports. So, nope, it's not something I necessarily see as beneficial for me. And, I haven't got my blood work in a little while, but as far as I remember, I was a very healthy individual, so that might change. All right, so let's go here. They make some diet recommendations. Oh, here, beautiful. These are your macronutrients. So they give you a like prescribed macronutrient percentage list. So for example, you know, if it fits your macros is a very big and important thing when it comes to let's just say health and fitness overall. Uh, Not across the board to where, if I say eat 2,000 calories and you eat 2,000 calories, it's going to affect you the same way as if somebody drank 2,000 calories versus soda versus somebody that has a balanced, or you can just say a specific macronutrient pattern in regards to the percentages. So if I told you to eat 2,000 calories, and for example, I gave you this, just hypothetically, 30% of those 2,000 calories will come from fat, the other 30 would come from protein, and 40% would come from carbs, right? So that, in a sense, is very important information because it's not so much the 2,000 calories, it's what macronutrients do I need to consume in order to achieve my goal, whatever it might be. It can be lowering my cholesterol, it can be to get stronger, it can be to have better endurance, whatever it might be. Those things all play a role. So it says that a low carb diet is basically better for me, but it doesn't tell me why it's better. I don't know why. I don't know the people that they tested. I don't know what questionnaire they've asked them. I mean, when I took the Human Genome Project, it was a while ago, but I don't remember filling out some extensive questionnaire to where, you know, they were like receiving this like personal information. I just remember taking the DNA test to see my father's side of my genes, and that was actually really cool. So although they do specify a percentage, it's still based off of people that might have similar genetic markers, but I don't know what the fucking goal is. So I have to look into that a little bit more. All right, here we go. Now it says, like it says snacking, for example. Typical. Your genome type is not associated with extreme behavior of snacking. All right, cool. I don't think that's necessarily. I never actually thought, I should say, it's not even up to me to think about it. I never thought that, like I don't get it. What are they doing? Are they asking them like, do you crave things? And then based on like their genetic tags, they fulfill yes or no. Like, how do you determine that? It says, let's see here, eating disinhibition are more likely. So your genome type is associated with an increased susceptibility for an eating disinhibition. All right, eating disinhibition describes the tendency to eat more than normal in response to stimulus such as a tasty food or in situations that trigger overeating. Now, that's interesting because although I do not specifically relate to that, I do know that certain people in my family do. And it's very apparent, at least from my perspective, when we go to family gatherings and there's foods and certain things. I'm very health conscious, almost OCD. Actually, no, I'm OCD when it comes to it. And the reason why is because I prioritize my physique, I prioritize my performance and such. So, there are times where I can, be a little looser, but necessarily, I don't necessarily like overeat. For example, if anything, I can say that I undereat. Um, but it's interesting because it says that like I don't have extreme snacking behaviors, but I'm more likely to have an eating disinhibition. Now, from my experience, people that tend to be heavier are more likely to snack more than those that don't. I mean, that's just the way it is. Chips, for instance. Like, think of snacky foods and think about who eats those type of foods. And I'm not saying that that's the reason why it's not snacking. At the end of the day, they're like consuming more calories than they're burning. But the tendency of snacking, to me, has strong correlation to being overweight. All right, I'm kind of going a little too long. So, for example, forgive me. Caffeine metabolism. This is kind of cool. It's basically saying that I'm a fast metabolizer. So my liver, obviously the caffeine is processed through the liver. And so with that, they're saying that people with a slower caffeine metabolism can feel the effects for a longer period of time. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing. I would love to feel caffeine for a longer period of time. But they also suggest that the information provided does not really include this idea of people that drink coffee often or people that consume larger amounts of caffeine, because you got to take that into consideration. All right, so let's see here. We already did this. Alcohol flush. I don't even know what that means, but let's read this together. Drinking alcohol beverages is relaxing or social, and for many, but for some, it's exceedingly unpleasant due to their body's adverse reaction to alcohol. One such reaction is called an alcohol flush, in which drinking even small amounts of alcohol causes a person's face to turn red. All right, I'm less likely, which is true. I don't drink. I haven't even had a beer in over 11 years. However, it says I'm less likely, and they are correct on that. So this is interesting right here. This is the most important part for me, or I guess you could say most exciting. Endurance training, enhanced benefit. Strength training, less beneficial. Aerobic capacity, typical. Muscular power, less power. Weight loss response to exercise. Exercise recommended. Loss of body fat response to exercise, enhanced benefit. All right, so let's see here. I'll just read this to you real quick. Your genetics are associated with enhanced health benefits from endurance exercise, okay, such as mid to long distance walking, jogging, or cycling. weight resistance and exercise may be less beneficial. Okay, your enhanced, what does that even mean? Enhanced health benefits? Does that mean run faster? I don't know what the fuck it means. And so this is why I'm a little frustrated, because what's the goal here, right? And who are they talking to? And do the goals change? I mean, think about it. At one point, they told you to eat low fat, right? And people were getting fucked up. So it's like health changes. Think about cholesterol, for example. Like it's changing. Blood pressure, the number, the recommendation, it changes. And so I don't know what they mean by enhanced health benefits. And the reason why I'm being so maybe critical at this point is because when I paid for this, it wasn't a lot of money, but it wasn't cheap. $99. I mean, for some might be cheap, but it's $100 risk basically. It doesn't give you any of this information, and I believe the reason why is because if they explain it to be this broad, it would not be as popular to purchase. So it says right here, endurance training may provide enhanced benefits to people with your genotype. I mean, like I said, I don't know what that means. And so here we go. Strength training. Strength training can be described as exercise that incorporates a use of opposing force to build muscle. The possible outcome in this report are beneficial or less beneficial. In a small study of young adult men, those with CG or CC genotype, at RS7, whatever number, were more likely to experience increased fat volume after participating in a 12-week resistance training program, and thus strength training was less beneficial. What the fuck does that mean? I mean, what did they do? Like, first of all, where did they start from? What type of people did they have? Like, did they test? And obviously, if you compare 12 weeks of running, for example, right, versus doing 12 weeks of 3 sets of 12, the 3 sets of 12, you're burning less calories. So I find it to be crap. Muscle changes the way your body processes food. I mean, it reroutes it basically. Less storage. You are a fucking machine, right? And this idea that they use a small study. What was the test? Like the leg extension? I mean, like if you read some of these peer-reviewed tests, it's like it's junk. So I don't necessarily. That to me is garbage, complete garbage, in the sense to where they don't describe what the test was, and how are they going to determine this to say it's less beneficial based off 12 weeks? I mean, maybe it's less beneficial in 12 weeks, but what's the goal basically? The goal in this case was obviously to lose body fat. I mean, dude. Yeah. Anyways, it's enough. I'm rambling now. Aerobic capacity, VO2 max. Your genotype is associated with the typical aerobic capacity. Now, this is cool because I'm wondering, like, what's the default? And did they take people's word for it? Like, how did they get this idea that certain people have a better VO2 max? Like, how did they test for this? Maximal oxygen uptake, VO2 max, is widely used to best measure an individual's cardiorespiratory fitness. VO2 is defined as the maximum volume of oxygen per unit time that an individual uses at maximum exertion. The baseline VO2 max level can vary depending on age, past medical history, current health, or level of physical activity. However, anyone can increase their fitness and VO2 max by endurance training. Interesting. So I benefit more from endurance training, but my genotype is typical. That's kind of weird. All right. Elite athletes in endurance sports such as cross country, skiing, long distance running have a higher VO2 max than elite athletes in power sports. Duh. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm making this seem like it's, common knowledge if you guys don't necessarily understand this, but I expected more. That's why. Let's see here. Let me see if there's any more. Okay. In a study of 303 Spanish and British men, the GG and the GA genotypes were associated with typical VO2 max, whereas an AA genotype was associated with a decreased VO2 max. This association has not been studied in women. Sorry, you guys, stupid. I don't know why. Please remember that you can always increase your VO2. This is just crap. I mean, when I read this, it's like, okay, who did you test? Fuck. What did they do? How do you determine that? You're sitting here and you're telling me on the same, at one token, like people with the same genome markers as, or genotype as myself has a typical, and uh, another genotype has a decreased, but you can modify it. So it's like, did we get these from athletes? Like I took my VO2 max, and my results were elite. So, and again, I understand this is a very broad thing, but it's almost too broad. And it's beginning to convince me that this idea is not nearly close to what I thought it could be. And I guess maybe I wanted it to be, which is why. All right, exercise muscle power. Um, yeah. Anyways, it just says less muscle power, ability to maintain healthy weight. What does that mean? What's healthy weight? Whenever I take a BMI like test, it would consider me to be overweight. And the reason why is because from my height and size, which changes, I am heavier than what I'm supposed to be. So, I mean, who are we comparing this to? Like, I don't know. So, weight loss regain. This is interesting. I'm more likely to regain weight back on. Is that a bad thing? I mean, weight loss. Your body registers weight loss as starvation. So if I can put weight back on, I'm wondering if that's a bad thing, for example. I'm not fat, and I can get very lean. It's actually something that in certain areas, specifically like my abdominals, I can get very lean when I do contest preps. But it's interesting how it says my metabolism is normal. I took my metabolic rate in another facility, and it was slightly above normal. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, or maybe I'm within the range of a high normal. They just don't indicate that. And that's pretty much it. I want to say that I give this like out of a 1 to 10, a 3. I wouldn't recommend people buying it because to me it doesn't give you any type of information that would be useful. And I feel that your local trainer or health and fitness provider near you, considering they have some type of knowledge, will be able to help you more so than this. I mean, check this out. The science in this area is still developing, and many professional health factors affect diet and health. Since subjects in the scientific studies referred to in this report may have had personal health and other factors different from those of tested individuals, results from these studies may not be representative of the results experienced by the tested individuals. So it's basically saying that, yeah, we tested you, we tested them, and we just seen that you guys have some other genotypes, and forget about your fucking lifestyle. I mean, this is just the commonality. I mean, dude, there's more people that are out of shape than in shape. So, I mean, in the world, at least to my standard of fitness. So, do we really want to take their word for it? I don't think so. So, you guys keep searching. I know it's a 20-minute video. I don't expect you guys to get through the full thing, but I hope you did enjoy it as much as I did.